Hi guys, welcome to this week's Gold Lap Guide. This time we're taking the Red Bull Ring with the new Lancer Evo in the latest online lap time challenge. I've currently got a gold time, so I'll show you what I did to achieve that. I actually quite like this car and I love this circuit, but this car gets a bit slidey, so make sure you stick around to the end. I'm sure you'll pick up a few helpful tips and we'll cover some of the braking secrets as well. So starting the lap, we're straight into the first corner. Braking points. Somewhere around about the 125 metre mark. The 150 is a bit too far away and the 100 is too close to the corner, so somewhere between the two markers, the 150 and the 100, somewhere around 125, it's about right for me, but have a play about with it, see what you think. So we'll be hard on the brakes, down to third gear. Now when we get to the apex, we'll flick it to fourth and get back on the power again. You make sure you use all the circuit on the way in, clip the curb as much as you possibly can and use all this circuit on the way out. I'm going to show you from behind the car in slow motion just to get an idea of what you can get away with track limits. If you just keep two tyres on the red and white curbing, you'll be absolutely fine. You can cross the white line, it's not a problem, as long as the two tyres on the red and white curbing, and that goes for all over the circuit. So we'll just run this corner in slow motion in chase cam just to illustrate the points. I'm going to try and take as much of this curb as possible without upsetting the car on the sausage, and you want to use all this circuit on the left hand side. That is about as close as I can get without getting a track limit penalty. I did invalidate quite a few laps at turn 1. You might have to play about just to find out what works for you, but this is what you're really aiming for, to get the best exit possible and take as much speed through the corner as possible. So once we've got turn 1 correct, long old straight up to turn 2 or 3, whichever way you want to count it. Use all the revs in this car, not a problem at all. I'm just trying to make sure I'm taking the straightest line possible through here. Next, braking points. Again, it's somewhere between the 150 and the 100 markers, estimated about 130. It's an uphill braking zone, but you are braking down to a very slow speed. Now, trick with this one. I like to trail brake this one really heavy into the corner and use that trail braking to get the car to turn right on the apex. So on the approach, keep your right two tyres on the red and white curbing, hard on the brakes in a straight line, down to second gear. I'm going to heavily trail brake this into this corner. As soon as we get to the apex, miss the sausage, up to third, back on the throttle as early as possible to try and maximise this straight. Use all the curbing on the exit for the best exit possible. Just show you from behind the car again what we can get away with. So two tyres on the red and white curbing, into the apex there. Get as close to this sausage as you can without touching the sausage because you will upset the car, but you're heavily trail braking into this part of the corner. As soon as you get to this point, flick to third, get back on the throttle, the car should rotate a little bit and it should set you up for a nice exit. Into the next section of the lap. And as always guys, if you get any value out of this at all, then please do hit the like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. I really appreciate the support, thank you. Into the next corner, tricky one this, somewhere between the 150 and the 100 again, around 130, 140 I've marked out here, roughly where this arrow is. I'm going to brake down to second gear. Now it's a downhill braking point, so be a bit careful for the extended braking distance. Make sure you are braking in a straight line. Again, you can take a little bit of curb on the left hand side, not too much. I find it upsets the car a bit too much. Hard the brakes, down to second gear. And again, I want to try and trail brake into this corner, back to third, back on the throttle as early as you possibly can and use all this curbing on the outside here. Almost be touching that gravel for the best exit possible. Into this next section, braking point I like to use here, somewhere around about 60 metres, so just before this 50 metre board is around where we're going to start braking. We'll be hard on the brakes for a brief moment. We're going to stay in fourth gear, just try and knock some speed off and try and control the sliding of the car. And what I found with this car with the braking is it responds well to a fairly quick release of the brakes. So hard on the brakes initially, keeping fourth gear. I'm quickly off the brakes there, as you can see. Getting to the apex, back on the throttle as soon as you possibly can. Get your eyes on that outside curbing and use all the outside curbing for the best exit. And I like to use this arrow, or where the short track comes in here, just the start of this, where this arrow is, as a braking point for the next section. Again, stay in fourth gear, and it's a fairly quick release off the brakes. Don't want to trail it too much because you will get the car sliding a bit too much. We're just going to try and control that. So we're hard on the brakes for a brief moment in time, quickly off the brakes again, a little trail in the corner, take plenty of curb, back on the throttle as soon as you possibly can, get your eyes up and onto that exit curbing, a little shortcut across this little bit, don't invalidate your lap there, I did a few times, into the last little bit. Now this again can catch you out very, very easily. Braking point I like for this corner, somewhere around about 75-85 metres. And we'll be using 4th gear for this corner. Now you don't want to trail the brakes in too much because the car will get a bit too slidey, but nice sharp application and then a fairly quick release. So again, you can use some of this red and white curbing on the left hand side, down to 4th gear, hard on the brakes, fairly swift trail off, managing that slide, take a bit more curve than I do, use all this curbing on the left hand side. Last braking point, just before this Austrian sort of flag tarmac ends on the left hand side, just before it ends, roughly where the arrow is, I'm going to use that as a braking marker, and I'm going to use or stay in 4th gear. So it's a similar kind of setup as the corner before it, hard on the brakes, fairly quick trail off, take as much of this curb as you can take some of that sausage as well, carry as much speed for there as you possibly can, use all this exit curbing, keep 2 tires on the red and white curbing for the best exit possible. And I'm going to cross the line for a 146.175, which is good enough for 1.21%, and at time of recording, 90th in the world. Now if you're still chasing gold for the Grand Valley time trial with the Ford Roadster, then please have a look at this video right here, it may just help you. Guys, thank you very much for your support, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, take care, good luck with the time trial, I'll see you on the next one, cheers.